As it's Christmas and there's been no FA Cup throughout December, I thought I'd recap how all the teams I've featured in my Road to Wembley series are getting on in their respective leagues. And as my journey started at the RM Stadium, I will of course start with Hucknall Town. Hucknall Town are a 9th tier team playing in the United Counties League Premier Division North, where they currently sit 17th in the table. When I watched them play, I mentioned that I felt there's a lot of potential in their squad, and I was right. Although they're still lingering just above the relegation zone, they've already picked up 19 points, which is only 2 fewer than they managed in the entirety of last season, and they've shaken off the losing start they were experiencing when I was last at the RM Stadium. Their most recent result was a very impressive 3-0 win against 9th place Melton Town, and if they can continue putting in performances like that, then I'm confident they'll be able to pull themselves into a mid-table finish. My time with Hucknall Town was brief, as they were beaten by Bottisford Town in the very first game I covered, but it was clear to see they're a well-supported club with great new facilities. I look forward to returning to the RM Stadium before the season ends. Bottisford Town still hold the current record for the most appearances on my Road to Wembley journey, though they'll have to share that with Exeter should the Grecians win their third round tie with Oxford next month. The Barrett Steel Stadium is another new ground that only opened last year, and Bottisford Town are a club that are still undergoing a development. Bottisford Town play in the Northern Counties East League Premier Division, also the 9th tier of English football, and they currently sit in 16th place, which is a bit of a disappointing position given the overall quality of their squad. While their FA Cup run was impressive and the best the club has ever seen, it did seem to take away some of their focus in the league, which cost them some early points. So maybe they're still playing catch up, but with them being 9 points clear of the relegation zone, I don't think we'll see them getting pulled into it. Bottisford's latest result was a 3-2 home win against Beverley Town, and their current top scorer is Aris Cunha, who's still the leading scorer for my FA Cup Road to Wembley journey, though he's now joint with Exeter City's Josh McGuinness. Like with Hucknall Town, I will be returning to the Barrett Steel Stadium before the season finishes to do a full recap on their brilliant club. Bottisford Town's historic FA Cup run was ended by Bromsgrove Sporting, who play in the Southern League Premier Division Central, which is the 7th tier of English football. Going back to the UK Electrical Stadium brought back plenty of memories for me, as I spent a couple of seasons training with Bromsgrove Rovers before they went bankrupt. They were struggling a little bit in the league when I visited, and they've since replaced first team manager Paul Smith with Scott Adey Linforth. They're still struggling to get themselves out of the league's relegation zone, where they currently sit 20th, but their results seem to be improving overall. Their most recent result was an impressive 3-2 away win at 4th place Stratford Town, which is a huge signal of intent, and hopefully a sign of the improvements that are still to come. Jamie Meadows is currently their top scorer with 10 goals, and I'm looking forward to going back to the UK Electrical Stadium, especially for their fantastic food. I'll be returning before the season ends, and hopefully by that time they'll be well clear of the relegation zone. After Bromsgrove Sporting, I ended up at Chelmsford City's Melbourne Stadium. Chelmsford play in the National League South, and after finishing runners-up and reaching the playoff final last season, their 16th place position is incredibly disappointing. While they are still 11 points clear of the relegation zone, they also sit 13 points away from the playoff places, so it looks incredibly likely that they'll extend their long stay at this level of the non-league pyramid. Considering there's usually a fair few goals when the Clarets play, Chelmsford's latest result, a 0-0 draw with Weymouth, is quite surprising. They've looked dangerous going forward in both the games I watched. Osmond Foyo is their current leading scorer with 10 goals, and like the previous clubs, I'll be returning to the Melbourne Stadium before the end of the season. And just like Bromsgrove Sporting, I'm looking forward to their brilliant food. With Dagenham and Tamworth being the only non-league sides remaining in the FA Cup, it's highly likely that Barnet will be the last of them on my journey. I went down to their Hive Stadium for the 4th qualifying round tie with Chelmsford City before watching them go out in a thriller at Exeter in the first round. Barnet are in the National League and currently sit behind York City on goal difference in 2nd place, so they're very much in with a chance to return to the Football League this year. It's a very tight promotion race though, with Forest Green, Gateshead and Oldham Athletic all within 5 points of the leaders, so that 6-team playoff will be exciting come the end of the season. Barnet's latest result was a 1-1 draw at home to Halifax Town, and they're looking really strong. Their top scorer is Nick Kabamba with 10, but they're constantly demonstrating that their goals can come from anywhere and have seen some very high-scoring games this season. Despite Barnet's impressive run of form, there seems to be a lot of dissatisfaction around the club, with a lot of the supporters frustrated that they still don't have any definitive plans to return to their previous home at Underhill, though there are still issues surrounding the planning permission. I hope they manage to return back home soon and start creating a buzz around their football club again, especially as I think they might be playing in League 2 next season. And finally, that brings me to my current focus club, the fantastic supporter-owned Exeter City. I've been down to their St James Park twice already, and when I return for their third round tie in January, it will overtake the Barrett Steel Stadium as the most visited ground on this journey. Exeter City are the highest ranked side I've followed on the journey so far by quite some way, seeing as they're the only Football League team I've adopted. They're in League 1 and currently sit in 13th place. League 1 is an extremely competitive league, so a run of a few wins or losses could transform their league position drastically. They're only 4 points off the playoff places, but at the same time only 8 off the bottom 4. Their most recent result was a crucial 2-1 win at Burton's Pirelli Stadium in a game that could have dragged them into a relegation battle had it gone the other way. Exeter City are the joint top scorers on my road to Wembley journey with Barnet and Bottisford Town, who have all scored 7 times. Josh McGuinness, Milinik Ali and Kamari Doyle are their joint top scorers in the league with 3 goals each. I'll be returning to Exeter next month, not to recap their season, but for their third round tie against Oxford United, where they look to progress past the third round for the first time since 1981. Let me know in the comments if you've been to any of the grounds I've mentioned, or if there are any you feel I should visit during the current season, and please consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and Merry Christmas.